This morning, we filed a criminal complaint against Minnesota State Highway Patrol Trooper Ryan Londrigan, charging him with 3 counts in the death of Ricky Cobb II. He is charged with second-degree murder, unintentional, first-degree assault, and second-degree manslaughter. The Minnesota State Patrol is responsible for ensuring safety on Minnesota's roads and highways. A critical component of their work is engaging with drivers during motor vehicle stops. This is something that state troopers do every day. And as a result, they receive extensive training on how to do so safely and effectively. As with all Minnesota law enforcement officers, state troopers may only use deadly force when it is necessary to protect a person from a specific identified threat of great bodily harm or death that was reasonably likely to occur. That did not exist in this case. Ricky Cobb II should be alive today. The BCA conducted their initial investigation in this case and turned the file over to our office in September of 2023. Since that time, our office has continued to investigate and review this matter. This thorough investigation and review is what led to our decision to file these charges. The only other specific topic specific to the charges that I will address at this time is the question of conditions of release. We are not requesting bail in this case because it is not consistent with Minnesota's law on bail and the risk assessment used by Hennepin County. When Trooper Londrigan makes his first appearance, which I think will be later this week or early next week, we will ask the court to require that he surrender his passport and firearms and to follow all conditions set by the court. I want to acknowledge that this is a difficult day for many. My heart is with Mr. Cobb's family. They are devastated and will continue to grieve Mr. Cobb's loss the rest of their lives. This is also a difficult time for Trooper Londrigan and his loved ones. Our community continues to navigate the compounding trauma and grief that results from the tragic loss of our community members at the hands of police. This matter is now an active criminal investigation, or prosecution, I should say. Because we take the right to trial, fair trial, seriously, we will not be commenting public after today, absent some kind of compelling circumstances. With that understanding, I will take a few questions and answer as best I'm able. Luke.
In September, in the statement, you wrote quite a bit about a use of force expert being retained by the office, but in the criminal complaint, I don't see that use of force expert mentioned at all. Did that person say that this was a murder?
So we were able to determine that charges were appropriate in this charge without the use of an expert.
So no expert use, no expert was used.
We are not, as I said, we determined through investigation that came after that statement that charges were appropriate without the use of an expert.
You had spoken in that statement about not getting some cooperation from some critical state patrol employees. So it was unclear if that meant maybe other troopers on the scene, maybe folks who trained the trooper, specifically Londrigan, or the men at that traffic stop. Can you speak more? Did that slow down your charging decision? Did you eventually hear from these employees of the state patrol?
So I want to say right now that any difficulties that we had obtaining information from State Patrol should not be a reflection on Trooper Londrigan. We want him to have a fair trial. As I said at the time, we did have difficulty, the BCA did have difficulty talking or getting some of training staff to talk to them, but we were able to get that information through our investigation.
Directly from the criminal complaint, it sounds like a trooper did provide information. It sounds like it was a trooper who was dragged, and you determined that the shooting Cobb did not prevent that officer from being dragged, which seems to be a reason that you filed a charge.
Right. What we looked at is you know, we have to look at it from an objectively reasonable officer's viewpoint. And what we have to look at and rely upon is their training. Our understanding of their training is that they were trained how to extract or remove somebody from a vehicle with one trooper or two troopers. They did not follow that training. Our understanding is also that they were trained that shooting someone is unlikely to stop them from driving the car away. In fact, most often people do drive the car away. So our determination was it was not a necessary use of force to prevent great bodily harm or death by that officer, Londrigan, or his partner.
You talked about getting the investigation turned over from the BCA back this past September. I mean, that would seem to indicate your office's investigation took significantly longer. Can you speak to any similarities that you found with your office's investigation and BCA's investigation, and maybe any differences between the two investigations, things that maybe you found with your office that didn't show up in the BCA report?
I would call our investigation complementary to the BCA's. There wasn't anything different. We obtained additional information. We wanted to be thoughtful about the decision in this case, understanding how important it is to, as I said, the Ricky Cobb's family, to Trooper Londrigan, and to our community. We wanted to be thoughtful. We were careful, thoughtful. We obtained all of the information that we knew we needed to make that decision. And so that's why it took that much time.
And Mary, what is your message to the community? There is going to be some in this community that just see a lawful traffic stop, given commands to, you know, protective order out for at least to hold them into custody, commands, and then what amounts to an attempt to drive away. I mean, what happens in between obviously is up for debate. But what do you tell the community who's going to say, what is Mary doing? That is a lawful traffic stop. If Ricky Cobb stops and obeys, he's alive today. What do you tell the community?
So what we focused on is the training that the state troopers received. The training that the state troopers received was about making decisions when there's a traffic stop. They are not allowed to shoot at a car which is driving away. They're not allowed to shoot someone to prevent the car from driving away. They are only allowed to use deadly force if it will prevent great bodily harm or death to their partner or somebody else. So we focused on the training that they received. And they also, as I said, received training that shooting someone. In fact, my understanding is they have a video that they show that someone who was shot in the head continued to drive away. So the training that they received, very extensive training by the State Patrol, was that shooting someone was not likely to cause the person to stop driving. So shooting someone was not an appropriate or necessary use of deadly force in this situation.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.